Hello and welcome back to SSA Athletics. The 400 metre hurdles is otherwise known as the man killer event of athletics and has taken a number of women too. The 400 metre hurdles is called the human killer because not only is it tough because of the heavy lactate threshold needed to run the distance, but also the fact that you could fall over a hurdle if you hit it. And yes, the 400 metre hurdles is my event because I'm a nutter who decided to do the 400 metres with hurdles, and I find it fun. 400 metre hurdles is one lap of the track of 10 hurdles. You start at the 400 metre white line. There is a hurdle at every dashed green line. The start of the 400 metre hurdles is similar to that of the 400 metres. If you want to watch a round the track video on how to run the 400 metres, see the card above. You drive out hard to the first hurdle. This helps to dictate what you then do for the rest of the race. Keeping low, rising up slowly like a plane till roughly around about 2 or 3 strides from the hurdle. So when we're at the start here and we're going round that first bend, we utilise something called the ATP-CP system, your creatine phosphate system. It doesn't last very long. So when we start sprinting, we've got to go out hard and fast. So as we come off that bend, first bend, drive off, first hurdle, you look up as you just come round it and you go over it, and then on the crest of the bend you have hurdle 2. Now hurdle 2 on the straight at least is the most interesting part. Yes, you run it like a normal 400 metres. Everyone has their own race tactics and the way they run the race. Nonetheless, we still want to speed into those hurdles. As we see the hurdle, we sight the hurdle, we quicken and we go over it. But we are still keeping to the race plan that works best for us. In the end though, it's not about tactics, it's about speed. And in 400 and in any sprint races, whoever tires the least, whoever tires last, is likely going to maintain their speed and is likely going to be the winner. So what you'll see is some people actually increase their speed down the back straight. Some may not increase their speed too much down the back straight. It must be noted that some athletes do relax down the back straight. They're still going fast, they're still sprinting, but their body's relaxed, their muscles are relaxed to a certain extent, and they relax the speed a little bit, but they are still running to keep themselves in contention. Now this all depends on how fast you run down the back straight, depends on the conditions and which lanes you're in. For instance, Varholm, who generally likes to run out faster, does prefer the outside lane. If you're in the outside lanes, you generally have to run a little bit harder than the inside lanes. However, this all depends on the individual athlete and the race plan that works best for them. The last bend is often the 100 metres where people will start to tire, especially by hurdle 7. Hurdle 7 is the one that's found almost on the apex of the bend. People's stride pattern will also shorten around this part of the race, especially with the build-up of waste products like lactic acid. As you come off around the bottom part of the bend, you speed in over that hurdle, hurdle 8, and you go in to your full-on sprint down the home straight. It is important that even though you're trying to go flat out as fast as possible, that you keep your technique over hurdle 9 and 10 on the home straight, because a 400 metre hurdle race has rarely been won from the first hurdle, but certainly can be lost on the last 2. So when we come sprinting around that second bend, you want to make sure that your left arm is driving, right arm slightly across the body but still driving. Legs in front, legs slightly across, more energy efficient, hug that bend. And as you come off around the bend onto the straight, you really push it as you come back in off a great transition. Come from the lean, you lean around the bend and you come up straight. Driving forward, driving hard and as fast as you can until you reach that line. Really push it, pedal to the metal, all the way home. So as we come round this bend here and we see the hurdle in front of us, what we want to try and do as we come into the hurdle, we want to speed up into that hurdle. As we speed into it, we get that momentum as we go over, we get the momentum coming off, and that helps us to get into the next hurdle. Yes, we still have to work to our rhythm to the race, the actual race pace, but 2 to 3 strides in, you want to get quicker into that hurdle in order to clear it and get there smoothly, get every hurdle smoothly, because going over barriers actually slows you down. So the time we can minimize over the air makes it quicker. Most hurdlers will utilise a 13 to 15 stride pattern between each hurdle. This means that you have to be proficient hurdling with both a right leg and left leg lead. When it comes to hurdling, regardless if we're using a left leg or a right leg lead, you must avoid slowing down into the hurdle and or stuttering. Stuttering is where we take small little steps before we hurdle the hurdle. We prevent stutter stepping by increasing our speed into the hurdle and also potentially increasing our stride length. However, you mustn't overstride into the hurdle, as this can also slow you down. Another important element of hurdling is sighting the hurdles. When we're looking to sight the hurdle, what we mean by that is we sight the top of the frame, but the top as we come around the bend. Now, there's no actual scientific evidence to suggest what happens when you do look at the hurdle. Just think of it like when you kick a ball, you have your eye on the ball, that kind of thing. But there will be further knowledge when we start to learn and start to do actual testing with eye pupil analysis on this kind of thing. But what we do from there, we sight the hurdle. We don't necessarily want to glare at the hurdle, because then we possibly start to think about hurdling. And when we're looking down and thinking about hurdling, we stutter. We don't actually do it implicitly, do it naturally. So we sight the top of the hurdle, we sight the actual hurdle here, or you sight above over the hurdle, either running in or as you're going through the action. That may sound a bit silly, but trust me, it makes sense when you're doing it. For good hurdle technique, we have the front leg out in front, not straight, actually slightly bent, this in order to get our foot flat down to the ground quicker. We then bring our rear leg round wide over the hurdle, lean forward, reaching with the opposite arm to our lead leg. Our rear arm goes round our rear leg in a wide action, and we try and drive and push off as fast as we can. This should help us get momentum. We want to speed up into the hurdle and drive off as fast as we can in order to build momentum into the next hurdle. It keeps our rhythm going and it helps to keep our pace round the track. When we're hurdling, we want to be as low to the barrier as possible. This can be achieved by either just jumping not so high, or it can be done by improving one's technique. The way to get lower is by taking off further out. However, by taking off further out, you risk being in the air for longer and therefore being slower. Taking off closer can also make you a bit more cramped and therefore your technique falters. You end up going up and then back down again, rather than going straight over the hurdle in a nice smooth low arc. There are countless numbers of different hurdle exercises you can do to help improve one's technique. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Make sure you check out the SSA website and also both of our Facebook pages, SSA Athletics and SSA Training. I'm Adam McCarthy and I will see you in the next one.